Today turned out to be one of those great days that's just burnt into your memory forever. We took off early on the CT125, riding two up because we had to go through the centre of Hobart and wanted to avoid that rush hour traffic. Absolutely wonderful November morning in Tasmania. So here we go. With the sun on our backs and heading west, we have our shadow to follow all the way into Hobart. So the old Honda Postie bike CT125's got a probably maximum speed of 85 downhill, so you're really looking at about 80 kilometres an hour. And I was really quite nervous. This is heading in towards Hobart from the east heading west in the morning, and I was really quite nervous how we'd go in the city traffic. Turned out to be okay. You certainly knew that you were going slower than the rush hour traffic at this time of the morning, but people were courteous and we made it through the city okay. Great countryside, beautiful city. A crisp November morning, just as the city's waking up. It's a great time to travel through Hobart. Really is a beautiful city. Love the old buildings. Now we're through the city and we start heading up over the hill, heading south from Hobart. Gee, there's this a steep hill to get over, and I think the old Postie was down into second gear, two up by the time we got to the crest of this hill. Once again, the trucks were courteous and people went around us, so we're heading south. Okay, today's travel. So we were out here past Hobart Airport. We came into Hobart, went down here on these busy roads. We are now at Kettering. We'll then go across to Bruny Island. There are more roads on Bruny Island than shows. We will ride around Bruny Island for the day and then we will come back home to Hobart. Okay, it's Bruny Island, not Bruny Island, and I'm going to get this name wrong over and over again. With Kettering being the jump-off point for the ferry to Bruny Island, and the ferry only leaves roughly every 20 minutes, we had time to stop for a coffee and a cake, refuel before heading the island. taking your motorbike on the ferry is certainly cheaper than taking your car on the ferry, and you get to be at the front of the queue for boarding and departing. No waiting around this time. Down there. Straight off the ferry onto Bruny Island, and the fantastic riding just hits you straight away. Steep rolling hills, country dirt roads, bitumen roads, beautiful countryside, hardly any traffic. This island is wonderful. It's a nirvana for anyone on a motorbike. Passing a farmer working the sheep in the yard on this glorious day, we then come across the coast, hit bay after bay with little hills and twists and turns in between. Then we head east and then back down south towards the southern part of the island. Further out into these bays, you could see some really big aquaculture ventures. Apparently it's mostly mussel farms in this area. This sign's absolutely amazing. You wouldn't believe it. Penguins can do 45 kilometres an hour on this island. So this is a lookout from the top of the famous Bruny Island spit, little spit of land that joins the north and the south part of the island together. The big tourist attraction in town, but well worth a walk to the top. Heading down the east coast of the island, heading south towards the only town on the island that has any fuel. We need to fuel up before heading over a little mountain pass. It's certainly a lot more forested here, a little less farmland, a bit wilder the southern part of the island. So we grab some fuel and then head up over the mountain, and this turns out to be an absolutely fantastic ride. Even though we were on the rough roads with a little 125 Postie bike, 2 up, she did it. Bruny Island. Bruny. So while talking to a tour bus operator on the Spit, who also rides a motorbike, local guy, and he recommended we take this little pass. So filling up with fuel, we went over the top of the mountain from the east coast down towards the west coast. Really fantastic ride. Started off in some open coastal area and then quickly got into, as we climbed up, got into some heavy eucalyptus forest with these massive tall trees. And then towards the top of the mountain pass, we're over 400 meters from memory, we ended up in this lovely, incredible temperate forest. No one around, it was just us for hour after hour. And then down we went through all the switchbacks on this really, really rough track towards the east coast to grab some lunch. These roads were really rough and rutted, and there's certainly not much suspension travel on the old CT125 Postie, but we did okay. And this is all filmed with an iPhone, so excuse the bouncy a little bit, but we do our best. And up we climbed. These switchbacks are pretty steep and made the little bike work pretty hard, always hunting for another gear. And the road is pretty rough. They must have had some wet rain here and it was pretty rutted. But when we got to the top, we ended up in a glorious temperate rainforest. Nicest bit of forest I've seen in a long time. Really special country down here. Ooh, there's a Yeti. And as we head down, the temperate rainforest gives way to this big eucalyptus forest with some spectacular views over the west coast. Refueling with a late lunch after the ride over the mountain pass. Then it's up the west coast towards the ferry. Gee, this is an island just made for motorbikes. Gotta love it. Heading north up the west coast, most of the time you're following the coastline, and then when you head inland you get this classic Tasmanian countryside, just beautiful. Well, at least on a sunny day it is. This trip to Bruny Island was probably one of the best rides I've done on a long time. Absolutely fantastic countryside, beautiful weather, beautiful island, lovely sharing it with Leanne on the old Honda CT125 Postie bike. By the time we got back through Hobart, it turned out to be about 11 and a half hours on the bike, so long day but well worth it. Really enjoyed it.